Okay, so everyone knows we have turned on the recording for this webinar on ways to save money on electricity, brought to you by Pioneer Community Energy. Before we begin today, just to give you a couple of housekeeping things. Number one, the information that we provide in this webinar, while presented by Pioneer, and there are some Pioneer flavors to it, these are programs that are open to all electric customers, whether you're PG&E, SMUD, Roseville Electric, Truckee Donner Public Utilities District. These programs exist in all areas in some form or another. So please be sure to take a look at them if you are not in PG&E territory or Pioneer territory in your local jurisdiction. So real quick, up on the top, I'm going to show you the words Q&A. So what we do is we encourage people to provide questions and we'll answer them. If you hit that Q&A button, you should be able to type in your question and we'll see it and answer it as we go along. There are a couple places where we've planned some stops for questions. And so we will start with those as soon as they pop up. So let's get started. Thanks so much and welcome to Ways to Save Money on Electricity. So with that, we'll go to our next slide. Okay, again, brought to you by Pioneer Community Energy. We are a locally owned partnership of local governments. It's a not-for-profit agency. We're a public agency, so we're governed by the Ralph M. Brown Act, and we're serving most of unincorporated Placer and El Dorado counties, Auburn, Colfax, Lincoln, Placerville, Rockland, and the town of Loomis, and we'll be coming to Grass Valley and Nevada City in 2024. So it gives you an idea of where we serve. So let's talk about how electricity is billed. This is a key component of ways to save on electricity because there are components that affect generation and there are components that affect the shipping of it. So when you're looking at electricity in the PG&E territory, there are literally two sides. The distribution, which is the lines and poles. You can see the electricity traveling along the poles there. That's owned by PG&E. There is no choice in provider. They are the only way to move power around. And we all pay for the lines and poles. We all pay distribution, quote unquote, delivery. Now, with Pioneer Community Energy being here on the other side, there's generation. It's the electricity itself. You can get electricity from PG&E, or you have the choice to get electricity from Pioneer. So your choice, the whole purpose for this being created this way was to create competition. And with that, that's how we have electricity in our state. Now, saving money starts with your rate plan. This is really important. Rate plans are a key component of what happens on your bill. So there are two types of rate plans. For customers who do not have solar, very important, if you do not have solar, you have the option between a tiered rate, which is the E1, or a time of use rate. So what is a tiered rate? A tiered rate starts with the same price for generation all day, every hour, 365 days a year. You have a baseline allowance. You're allowed so many kilowatt hours per day based on where you're located, based on your geography and climate. And then if you exceed that allotment, there is a tier. That tier affects the distribution portion only. Your generation, the cost of your electricity stays the same throughout the entire day. But if you use more than you are allowed on baseline, you'll see an increase on the shipping, distribution, delivery side. Now, time of use. Time of use has rates that change throughout the day. There'll be selected time periods where your rate for your electricity will be more than other parts of the day. It's called peak hours. So you see here we have 4 different ones. Time of use D has peak hours from 5 to 8. Time of use C has peak hours from 4 to 9. E-elect has peak, partial peak, and off peak. So does EVA2. All of these have seasonal aspects to them, winter and summer. For solar customers, be aware you must take a time of use rate. So these are your options. For other customers who don't have solar, these are options. What you're looking to do is match your usage and how you live your life to the best rate plan to save you the most money. So how do you do that? Well, as we said, tier one rates, or it's just tiered rates, as you can see, but you must watch your usage. That's why we have that dark blue and that light blue box that's right here. Climate zones. So here's Placer and El Dorado County. We are in zones S, P, and then we have Y and Z a little bit more towards the mountains. These two climates have an allowed amount of baseline. And so you must watch in these two areas, how much are you allowed and how much you're using each day, because you want to avoid moving from the lowest baseline rate into the higher. Now, time of use rates, like we said, they have those peak hours right here on this clock. So some of the time of use rates have a baseline and some don't. Actually, most do not. Some of them specialize in supporting electric vehicle charging. Others are designed to support customers who are fully electric. All of those rates match the way your house is structured, the way you live your life. If you're someone who knows that you're out of the house every day, all day, and you're going to come home at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and you're going to turn everything on because that's the only time you have to get things done, time of use rates may not work to your benefit. If you're someone who has the ability to move all of your usage or a big selection of your usage to earlier in the day when the rates are at their lowest, then that might be a rate plan that you can use. So that's what we're looking at when we're looking to match our rate plans with our lives. So how do you know what your rate plan is? A lot of folks, you may get assigned a rate plan. We start, and some of us never change it or never look at any. Others, when you first set up, given a series of different options, and you go, oh, okay, I'll pick this one. And then we forget it, set it and forget it. Well, where are the places you can find your rate plan is actually on your PG&E bill. So if you take a look here, this is a non-solar bill. So this is an E1. You can see there's the tier 1 and tier 2. See those usages right there. This person had 66 kilowatt hours they were allowed in this period of time, and they went over by 11. Over here, they had 351, and they went over by 35. So there's the higher charge. It's on the delivery side. Now, solar folks, here we go. This one has an ETOU-B. So it's a rate that was in existence. It's been closed off now, but it still exists. And so for customers who have TOU-B, this is what a peak looks like. There's what an off peak is. This could say TOU-C. It could say TOU-D. It may say 4 to 9. If it says 4 to 9 period or 5 to 8 period, that's the same thing as saying time of use rate. They're giving you the peak hours as a cue so that you can match up your usage, control it, direct where you are using power and at what time. Another thing I'd like everyone to look at is right here. See those words, enrolled programs? This is going to be important later. Enrolled programs are the programs that you're participating in, and there's several that are available. If you have a program, like this person is a solar customer, so they have net energy metering. If you have a program, medical baseline, and some of the others, you'll see it listed here. It's very important to watch that because not only do they list what program you have, they list the expiration date or an upcoming renewal date. So make sure to watch this so you keep those wonderful benefits that you've worked so hard to get. So next, well, what rate plan's right for you? We've been talking about time of use. We talked a little bit about, if you work during the day and you can't do the shifting of your activities that involve electricity to earlier in the day. So maybe time of use isn't right for you, or maybe you do work from home, or you have the opportunity to arrange your hours so that you can do a lot of the activities that would require electricity earlier in the day before peak hours. Those are all ways to kind of look at these rate plans to see which one works for you. Another quick and easy way, and it works fabulously, is to do a rate plan analysis at pge.com/rate analysis. On this page, this rate analysis actually looks at your individual usage, your specific usage in your household for an entire year, and it does quick analysis looking at all the different rate plans that are out there. And that includes, the seasonality of it and the different times of day, all of those. And it reports back to you options you have, and it represents it in an annual charge. So if you're E1 and it says $100 a year, but on time of use C it says 150, but on time of use D it says 75. That tells you which rate plan you can choose based on the annual cost. And you can select your choice right there. Easily done. You can also contact PG&E at 866-743-0335 for rate plan assistance. PG&E customer service representatives know a lot about these rates and help guide you to find what might work best for you. So from there, let's take a look at programs that can save you money. So, quick look at it. Do I have any questions? I don't see any in the, oh, there we go. Hi. Okay, we have a question. The question is, if I choose a rate plan and I have Pioneer, do I have to tell Pioneer that I've also changed my plan? You do not. When you make a rate plan selection at PG&E, PG&E automatically informs Pioneer that choice has been made and we adjust the same. So one call, one shot, we're notified, no worries from there. So thank you for asking. It's a good question. Okay, so next, programs that can save you money. Let's say what we've got. One of the first ones, and like I said before at the beginning, this program, California Alternative Rates for Energy and the Family Energy Rate Assistance Programs, are available in all utility areas in the state of California. They happen to be administered in PG&E's territory by PG&E and in the publicly owned utility districts like Roseville Electric or municipally owned utility districts like SMUD. Those entities will administer these programs. So these programs, the state programs, offer discounts to households based on income and the number of people in the household. That's very important, the number of people in the household, because you'll see that there's higher limits depending on the number of people you have. So let's start with the CARE side. This CARE is the California Alternative Rates for Energy. This is a wonderful rate plan. We recommend folks take a look at it. Here are the allowances based on income. This is the lowest level that you can have in order to qualify. So 5 people at $70,000 can qualify. 4 people at $60,000 can qualify for CARE. CARE has around about 20% or a little bit more discount on the bill for electricity and generation or transmission distribution. Now, FARA. Here we have the FARA program. This is the Family Energy Rate Assistance. Now, FARA is a little different because it offers a higher income bracket based on the number of people you have in the family. So while CARE starts out at 1 to 2 people having $39,000 as an income base, FARA starts out at $46,000 for 3, and you can be up to $57,000 for a household of 3 in order to get the discount. And as you can see, as you add more, 69,000. Well, this is a parent, 2 parents and 2 children. That's a family. Some folks who have larger families, you can see 2 parents and 4 children, you can earn as much as $92,000 and still qualify. The other thing is about these programs, it's the number of people in your household. So that can be you and your family members, not your children, but maybe parents, grandparents, and others who are living with you. It can be a group of folks who share a household and you come together and you pay the bills together. So the guidelines are there. They help you apply for this. They let you know what kind of information that PG&E needs to in order to evaluate your qualification for this. You can find out more at the pge.com/care or pge.com/FARA. You can also just Google CARE program, FARA program, and you will get all the details on it. The numbers that you see here are effective through May 31, 2024. So with that, let's look at the next one. Medical Baseline Program. Now, Medical Baseline is a fabulous program, and it's not about your income. It's about your health. It's very, very important. This program considers individuals' health and the need for electric devices to help the person live. And what was decided when this program was created is that someone's health, the need for an oxygen machine, a CPAP machine to charge their wheelchair, should not come with penalties of having a higher electric bill because you need to use electric equipment for your livelihood and for your ability to live. So that's why medical baseline was created. So qualifications, you're a full-time resident in the home and you have a qualifying medical condition. Here's the interesting things. What's listed here are just a few of the different conditions that qualify: multiple sclerosis, life-threatening illnesses, compromised immune systems, CPAP machines, respirators, asthma, paraplegic, quadriplegic, along those lines. The application lists a bunch of information and qualifying conditions. It also needs to be submitted to your doctor because your doctor can complete some of the additional information needed that talks about what you need. Now, you do need to have a condition that requires additional electricity in order to get the medical baseline. But some folks, they don't necessarily have an external machine that they work with. They must control the environment they live in. It can't vacillate in terms of the temperature more than 5, 10 degrees. So they have to keep a really tight rein on it. And as we know, when we have, morning might be 68 and by the evening you're at 105. Well, those kinds of things where you have to control the temperature and keep it under a certain heat and coolness, that's a condition that can qualify. So search the internet for PGE medical baseline, get that application, complete it, and provide it to your doctor. Now, we do know that some folks don't have access to the internet or the ability to open up the documents that you need. If you're one of those folks, you can call Pioneer and we will print out the application and mail it to you so you can go through, complete that, work it out with your doctor and get it submitted. So this is a great program. Oh, how does it work? That's probably a good idea to let you know what that is. Medical baseline takes the amount of electricity you're allowed each day and adds to it. So let's say you're allowed 450 kilowatt hours for a month and you have medical baseline. You can get 600 hours, 700 hours, something along those lines, where you stay at the lowest rate available for a longer period of time and for a higher amount of electricity usage. Now, what happens about using rates that don't have a baseline? That recently changed in December 2022. And in that change, what happens is if someone has medical baseline, but wants to use a program like rate plan EBA, TLUD, or something along those lines, medical baseline can now be offered as a straight discount for those rate plans where there is not a baseline. So it is available across all rate plans to qualifying individuals. It's worth looking into if you have a condition. Okay, now, what about programs for people where don't have a health condition and don't have an income issue? So what about those? Well, that's where Power Savers reward program comes in. The Power Savers Reward Program was designed to encourage people and reward them for working with the state when there is a flex alert called. Now, a flex alert will be called when there is a lower amount of electricity on the grid than there is demand. So we have a supply demand issue. So they'll call it, and it's usually they're asking folks to conserve power between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. When you sign up for Power Savers Reward Program, if you can reduce your usage from what you would normally use between 4 and 9 p.m. when a flex alert is called, you'll get credits on your bill. That program starts in May, goes all the way through October, and at the end of October, the credits appear. It's open to all customers who are residential. Every residential customer can participate. If you happen to be a business owner, there is an equal program called Emergency Load Reduction Program. So for businesses, take a look for that one. But for residents, it's Power Savers. You need a smart meter. have to have that so they can record that you're actually saving power at a certain time. And Carefera customers, if you have Carefera, you're enrolled in that program automatically to help you save money. Now, questions. What happens if I don't save power during that period of time? It's okay. This is an all carrot, no stick program. If you can save the power and you do save the power, you'll be rewarded. But if for some reason something happens and you can't, there's no penalty. So it's a great program to be enrolled in that gives you an opportunity to take advantage of Flex Alerts and to save money. Again, it's only from May 1 to October 31st. It's only from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. when a Flex Alert is called. You can enroll at pgne.com/power saver. That's pge.com/power saver. All right. Now, one other way you can save electricity is being with Pioneer. This is the part of the presentation that actually is literally Pioneer oriented. So everything else are programs that you can get whether you're with Pioneer or PG&E, Roseville or SMUD. Pioneer helps you save on generation. Pioneer works to find the best fit, best cost electricity contracts that we can. We literally go out into the market, same market that PG&E is, and we hunt for the deals. We hunt for local power generation. We hunt for good priced energy that we can purchase, put under contract, and use to save money for our customers. As a not-for-profit entity, the tighter our contracts are, the better we negotiate them, the more savings we pass directly to you. That's what we do. We achieve savings by being a not-for-profit and by passing along whatever savings we can achieve in the contracts for that power to our customers. At this point in time in El Dorado County, we're about 19% below PG&E, and in Placer County, about 15% below PG&E for the power provided. So if you've got Pioneer and you're looking at it and you're going, I'm not sure I see the savings. How does this work? Well, we're going to go through that real quick just so you can see where the savings are and can evaluate whether Pioneer is the choice you want. Remember, Pioneer is a choice. We offer savings, we offer customer support, we're local, but in the end, it's what works for you. So here are the 5 things you need to know to find your savings. 1, you look on your bill for the word generation credit. Generation credit is what you would have paid PG&E for electricity. Their billing system doesn't allow them to line item, so PG&E puts all of the charges on the bill and then subtracts the cost of the electricity. That's what generation credit is. So you'll see that in a green box, and I'll show you on the next slide where we've got that. Second, second and third parts, power charge and difference adjustment and franchise surcharge. You put those 2 items in there. One's called the PCIA, the other franchise fee. You enter those. And number 3, you put Pioneer's charges, which is on page 3 of the bill. We'll show you. There's a lot to look at right now, but we'll show you where it's all at. When you take items 2 and 3 and you add them together right here on line 4, then you subtract this line 4 from the generation credit, and that gives you your savings. So we've talked about it. Well, what does it look like? Here happen to be some PG&E bills. And this happens to be on someone who's a solar customer, TOUB. Pioneer does work with solar, and here's an example of how it does. Generation credit. There's a generation credit. If this person was an E1 customer with no solar, they'd see generation credit right there. So you take those 2 generation credits and you add them together. Those are the charges that PG&E would have had. In the red boxes are the additional charges. There's power charge and difference adjustment right there, franchise fee. So everyone understands the power charge and difference adjustment is a charge that all customers pay. For those who have Pioneer, you see it on your bill. For customers who are 100% PG&E, you see it in the tariff. This is a charge that all customers pay to ensure that PG&E recovers the costs for the contracts it put in place. PG&E's gone to the market, they negotiated for some long-term contracts, but things change in the market. If you buy a 20-year contract, what you bought power for at the first part of the contract may not be what that power is worth later on. It can be up or it can be down. So let's say PG&E buys a contract in 2010, and in 2020, a community leaves. Well, PG&E bought that long-term contract in 2010 to go for 20 years. It ends in 2030. But that community left PG&E service in 2020. Well, PG&E still has 10 years of power that it has under contract for that community. Now, PG&E will sell that power back into the market, absolutely. But what happens if PG&E bought the power for $30 a megawatt, but can only sell it for $20 a megawatt? There's a loss there. That is what the PCIA addresses. It ensures that that charge is recovered. And so it's all customers pay it because it's on the behalf of all customers that it was purchased. So that's what that is. Now, franchise fee. What's the franchise fee? That is a surcharge placed on the bill that all customers pay for the right of way that PG&E gets with putting lines and poles in our area. The counties and the cities have right of ways. The franchise fee compensates the counties and the cities for the use of that right of way by utilities like PG&E. That's why it's there. Now, this part over here, detail of NEM charges. If you were a flat rate customer, E1, no solar, time of use customer, no solar, this would say details of delivery charges. You come over here, and this is details of generation charges. There's your rate. So let's take a look what happens when we take these numbers and put them into that little chart. Here are the two generation credits, 43.75 and 43.60. That adds up to $87. Now remember, we go through and we take the power charge and difference adjustment. There was 87 cents and 68 cents. We also take the franchise fee. There's 33 cents and 26 cents. Each one of these adds up, 155.59. And then remember, in that other red box, there was $72.26 per Pioneer. So what we have now is 155.59 and 74.40. Excuse me, 72.26 equals 74.40. So here's the total charges. So if we take PG&E's 87.35 generation there, the total of 2 and 3 right here at 74.40, and we subtract them, savings is 12.95. That's how you figure out your savings. We have worksheets on this. We can actually send this worksheet. So if anybody's interested in this, you wanting to see how savings work, that's it. So we've gone through programs that are offered for savings, Pioneer, how it works for savings. So what kind of success has we been with being with Pioneer? By the end of 2023, Pioneer Community Energy will have saved the residents and businesses of El Dorado County an estimated $85 million. Now, folks say, oh, is that money that you get? Well, how do we get it back? Actually, it's not money that comes to Pioneer. It's money that never leaves the business, the resident, the school, the library, the local government. That is money that isn't paid out for your electricity. It stays with you. It stays in your hands. It stays in your budget. It stays in the school budget. It stays in the business budget. That's how the savings is achieved. It's not a refund. It's not a rebate. It's literally a charge you don't even pay. So it's savings straight out. So now we've done that, but there are more ways to save. So we talked about programs. We talked about the way Pioneer saves. There are even more ways. So let's take a look and see what this is. Energy saving tips. When you can combine programs, lower cost for electricity, and energy saving activities, you can really have a huge impact on your total bill. So let's talk about some of the low cost, no cost ideas. Yes, you can replace the roof. Yes, you can do a whole lot with insulation. Yes, you can do your windows, but sometimes those cost money or they're kind of out of reach for a budget. So what can you do on your own for little or no cost? Well, you can do a self audit at home. You can take a look around and see what is needing to be worked on in the house. Windows around the house, that have any type of gap or gaps under the door, those mean that there is air moving in and out. And a 1/4 inch gap underneath a door or underneath a window is like putting a 9 inch hole in the wall. That's how it pulls out all that wonderful cool air or hot air, depending on the season. You can also look at LED lights. Go around the house, take a look. How many lights do you have that have standard incandescents and even fluorescent bulbs? Because LED lights are actually so cost effective, they can reduce power even beyond that of what a fluorescent bulb can do. So take a look around, see where those might work. You can install occupancy sensors. Now, here's one of those ones that does have a cost to it because it's recommended that if you're going to install occupancy sensors, you hire a contractor. So what's an occupancy sensor? That is one of those light switch sensors where you walk in and the lights turn on and you walk out and after a certain period of time, the lights turn off. You can install dimmer switches. Again, you need to make sure to hire a contractor. We're talking about switches and things associated with running electricity through lights and things at home. So make sure it's done correctly. But a dimmer switch allows you to control how much light's being put out and can actually help reduce the amount of wattage. You can also reduce the amount of wattage that you're using, not just through LED bulbs, but by choosing how much light you need. Do you need 20 watts, 40 watts, 60 watts equivalent of light? Can you get a 15-watt LED that gives you 40 watts of light? See how that kind of works, and you start to find ways at reducing your usage. Very important thing to do is clean and or change the filters regularly in your heating and air conditioning unit. Look at a filter like a mask. It gets dust and dirt and things on it. And if you remember when we were wearing masks, if they got too much moisture or too much on them, it became hard to breathe. Well, it's the same thing for your heating and air conditioning unit. When the filter becomes clogged with dust particles and debris and hair and all those things, it takes a lot more energy to pull the air through. So remember to change those. Now, how often? Check them once a month, kind of see if you need to. If there is a fire going on, if there's a lot of construction in your area, you might want to check them more frequently. During the mosquito fire, those of us in the Auburn area discovered that we needed to change our filters at least, as much as once a week, at least every 2 weeks, as long as the smoke was in the air, because it was a challenge for the system. Setting your thermostat at 78 degrees or higher in the summer or 68 degrees or lower in the winter. Setting that thermostat at a comfortable level, those two levels help keep your usage managed. It's an option. The lower your temperature goes in the summertime, at the higher the heat, the more your system's going to run and the more energy you use. Shut curtains, blinds to keep the heat out during the day, or keep it in. So what happens with this is during the summertime, when the blinds are open, the sun shines through and it heats through the glass. Even if you have low-E glass and things, there is still some heat transference. That heat transference warms up the house, but by putting a blind up or closing the curtains, it literally will help keep that area cooler, which means you need to run the air conditioning less. You can install a smart thermostat. Hire a contractor for this, but a smart thermostat are fantastic because especially for those who choose a time of use rate, you can program that thermostat to come on and off, to have different levels of temperature throughout the day to maximize how much you use your heating and air conditioning system and to maximize the temperature at which it is to get the most efficient use of electricity. So, and then these also come with, you can not only just program the hours within a day, you can program each day, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's very, very nice to be able to control that. You can also have it turn off in the evening and come on in the morning. So last, we're going to talk about weather stripping. Remember, we talked about the cracks between the doors and under the windows. Well, weather stripping and caulking around doors and windows is something really easy that you can do, self-install, take care of, and can help save energy. So these are just a few of the different things that you can take a look at and see how you can save energy. One last thing. This is kind of an interesting one, but it's something that we often don't think about. Depending on where your thermostat is in a room, be sure not to place any items that cast heat off. The reason is if you have a television screen, a lamp, something that has heat associated with it, and it's next to the thermostat, that radiant heat is going to read in that immediate area higher. And so the thermostat will go, oh, it's warm. I need to turn on the air conditioning. When maybe the rest of the house is not hot because it's fine. It's because that lamp or that piece of equipment's right next to it. So take a look around. That's one of those little home self audit things that you can do, is to make sure that there's nothing around your thermostat that could be triggering it to turn on. So, all right, we're going to talk about this. Again, Pioneer is a choice. All of these activities here, you can choose to participate in programs, you can choose to participate with Pioneer, you can return to PG&E. All of these things are components of managing your electricity. This is all about things you can do to match your rate plan to your life, make sure you're getting the most out of any program that's available, managing your power and how it functions in your home to get you the most out of it and the greatest savings. You can choose what your provider is going to be. There's no fees to leave or return. And there's more choice behind that. For those of you who are looking at this, we always put this in here. If we're serving in your area, Pioneer is a choice. If you choose to return to PG&E, that's fabulous. Again, it's your choice, no worries. But you have two. There's additional things that PG&E requests. One, if you want an immediate return, it's effective on your next billing cycle, but PG&E will put in a transitional commodity cost rate. It's a rate that allows them to ensure that they have power under contract for you. And it takes about 6 months for that to be into effect. The other choice is you can tell Pilot PG&E, you tell Pioneer, I want to go back to PG&E, and we let them know saying, hey, I got somebody who wants to come back. Give them 6 months notice and you transition, and there's no additional charges at all. So that's the part of choice, and it's always part of how you can manage your electricity. So with that, some of the other things we like to let you know about, Pioneer has a lot of webinars and things. You can find more activities at events near you. So Pioneer's website, communities, events near you. We have webinars on energy efficiency. We have webinars talking about what Pioneer is. We can show you how to work a bill, all kinds of things along those lines. We'll be developing additional programs in the future. So keep an eye out there. We also announce where we're going to be in the public. So we are at community events. We work at senior centers. We do in-field days. So if you'd like to meet with us in person, take a look there or give us a call. So with that, we have come to the end of our Power Savers program. It's basically Pioneer's ways to save. And here's some email and other contact information for you. There's our customer service at Pioneer Community Energy. That gets to our back office and call center, and they'll get back to you. You can also contact us at info@Pioneer Community Energy. That one comes straight to the team in Rockland. We are available here in Rockland. It's where we're located in Placer County, kind of central in our service area. So, give us a holler. You're welcome to come see us at the office or talk to us on the phone or work with us through email. You can also find a big bunch of information on our website at pioneercommunityenergy.org. We have a web bot, which is kind of an interesting thing. That chatbot, when you go on to Pioneer's website, it works kind of like an interactive table of contents. It'll take you right to the pages you need. Or if what you need is special and you ask a couple of questions, it'll bring one of us on live during business hours from 8 to 5. So you can also find more information about us on Facebook, Pioneer Community Energy, and you can call us directly at the 916-758-8969. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our presentation. I'm looking over to see if I have any additional questions. Solar, yes, there's a lot about solar. I have a question here, someone's asking, what would my bill look like with solar? Does it always work with Pioneer? Pioneer does work with solar. More than 85% of the folks who have solar and Pioneer do well. There is a small contingent that needs, because of the way the annual billing work with PG&E, they can stay with them and do better. We never know how that's going to be. We haven't been able to identify all the variables that work to create that situation. So we offer analysis. We also have a solar webinar where we kind of go through some of those things and can help you evaluate that. But yes, if you have questions about solar, please give us a call. Let us know what your questions are. We're happy to help with that. Let me see. Do you do meetings with other individuals and groups? Absolutely. So if you have a group or an organization that is interested in working with Pioneer and having us do a presentation, review solar, talk about how bills work, answer questions, explain what Pioneer is, want a workshop on how to fill out paperwork for medical baseline, or you want to see what other programs are, you want to have a mobile home park once a presentation on programs that might be available, we are happy to provide that, and we're happy to be in person too. So not a problem. Just give us a call at that 916-758-8969. Let me see. Do we have any other questions coming up? Nope, not at the moment. So with that, everyone, we thank you for your time. We are now at 6:11. We had planned to go from 5:30 to 6:30 with questions and answers and all. And I will stick around for a few more minutes if anybody has any additional questions. Other than that, thank you for attending and you have a lovely evening.